good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication.
Oh my goodness. Now, you trying to tell me that my baby has PKD, polycystic kidney disease? My baby don't have polycystic kidney disease. I mean, why would my baby have polycystic kidney disease? No, it don't run in my family. No, it don't run in my family. Uh, wait. Oh, wait a minute. Mark had that. Ooh, Aunt Dee's had that. Aunt Yolanda, Aunt Wendy. Oh my God. Well, I don't know what you want me to do because I still say he don't have it. I don't care who in the family had it or have it or you think have it or you pointing fingers over here. For me and my family, maybe your family have it. Doctor, nurse, your little team, y'all all look sick to me. Well, you know what? I'm not going to take this kind of pressure. I'm not. You know what? I'm going to call that woman. What's her name? I don't know, but she's the wonderful woman. She's the advocate. She been through stuff and she cares. All right. And I'm just sick of y'all, and I'm going to sick her on y'all. How about that? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Back up, D. Back up, Doc. Yeah, MD, DM, whatever. Because this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Well, hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from whatever time zone that you are in. Oh boy, you are in for a treat, a treat, a treat. I cannot wait to introduce my guest. You're gonna love him, love him, love him. How about that? Oh yes, oh yes. You know what I could say about him? Child, please. He's a hero. That's right. And I say donors rule. He's a hero because he's a donor. That's right. The brother donated. How about that? He's a hero, yes, that donated a kidney. Okay. He's a host. He's a producer. Uh, he's a traveler. Okay, he drives for driving for life. He has an organization, he has a network, a broadcast, you name it, he got it all. Okay, and some of this stuff I didn't even put down. And one of the things he's an executive producer. How about that? Big time, big stuff. What can I say about that? He's a big-hearted kidney for kids, Mr. Brian Martindale. Welcome to the Lisa Baxter Show. Woo,
Thank you.
woo.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Alive and kicking. Oh, child, alive and kicking. I am
All
so
right.
honored to have you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be with you tonight.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. So much. You got a lot of people that may be on the list to get a kidney, and you have a
Mhm.
lot of people that want a kidney. You have a
Yep.
lot of people that gave up, and you have a lot of people that will do just about anything for it, black market, all kind of crazy stuff. But you're doing a sweet thing and a kind thing. Not only did you invent something or you put something together to help people, you are a giver yourself. I think that's so sweet. You go ahead now. Oh, what
Well,
can I say?
thank you so much for all the kind words about what we do. Okay, well, to start, I became a living kidney donor in 2013. I had read a story that was in our local newspaper here in Bay City, Michigan, about a 10-year-old girl who needed a kidney transplant, and they just had a benefit for her. And I happened to pick up the paper by chance. I was actually constructing a store for a clothing brand I own. And I did the actual construction, and the day before opening, I ran out of chewing gum at the end of the day painting. So I went to this little party store 3 blocks away, And lo and behold, there's this newspaper on the counter in front of the register, and there's this girl in a princess outfit, and they just had a
Uh-huh.
benefit for her, and she desperately needed a kidney. And it said in there that she was A positive. And so I knew I was her blood type right off the bat. I had previously tested, just so you know, to be a paired kidney donor 2 years prior to Marvin Gaye III, Marvin Gaye's son. I came out to, I came out to Los Angeles and I tested for him. I met him through a friend of mine who's been a music producer in LA for since just after we were in high school over 40 years ago.
Mm.
So Marvin ended up getting a kidney, thank God, I think 2017 from a deceased donor. At the time I tested, he wasn't medically eligible, as it turned out. So anyway, fast forward to 2013, I read this story and I call and anonymously find out a little bit more about the girl. You could still do that at the time anonymously. And then
Mhm.
I tested, I scheduled my own testing at the University of Michigan Transplant Center where she was listed. And we turned out to be a match on all 6 factors that you match on for a kidney. We matched as if we were siblings and we never met and we only lived 4 blocks apart. So
Mm.
I use that in my motivation today in finding kidney donors for children. I let people who need a kidney know really your kidney life-saving kidney donor could be around the corner. It's just a matter of them hearing your story. So we matched. She got my kidney January 11, 2013. I tell you, I rode down with her in a donated limousine, and we'd only talked 2 times before this. We were introduced
Wow.
by a friend. I was going to stay anonymous. We were introduced by a friend who used to work for CNN who wanted to do a documentary on kidney donation. So
I,
mom, her mother and I and her had met during this little interview she'd set up. And then we rode together in this donated limousine, talked for an hour and a half. I go to the one hospital. She goes to the children's. We have her surgeries. And then I see her 48 hours later. They wheel me over to her. It was on a Friday. So this is Sunday. They wheel me over and she looked like a different girl, really, than I
wow.
broke down next to. She was so white and pale and frail looking. And now she's laying in bed and she's full of color, rosy cheeks, and it was just, yeah, I was hooked, put it that way. So over the years, we would start to have like a pizza party every year on our kidneyversary. And then my wife and I started to go to her school functions, and now we're as close as family. And she is 22. And she's on the board of directors for Kidneys for Kids, and she's also in college working on her doctorate degree.
You are a donor, and a lot of people don't become a donor or want to be a donor. What
Right.
made you want to be a donor or a donor?
Well, it was just, first of all, I met a young gentleman 2 years prior, even before I met Marvin Gaye III, who lived here in our town. We were introduced because of this clothing brand that I have.
Mhm.
I back in the beginning when I started Carmine Apparel in 2009, I got publicity by having some musicians wear my stuff on stage because they
Mhm.
knew I gave a part of the sale, every sale to charity. So one night I was asked by a band to come to their concert. Their drummer was wearing one of my shirts. And I was introduced to this young man who needed a kidney, not to donate to him, but to raise money for him. He had
Mhm.
to get into a program at the University of Michigan. He needed to cover the cost of transportation. It's 100 miles each way. And he
Wow.
needed help getting medical insurance. And so the band and I got together and put together a shirt to benefit him. And anyway, we stayed friends. He ended up getting a deceased kidney about 2018. Unfortunately, he passed 18 months later. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, he'd been on dialysis by that point for 13 years. And the only reason I didn't become his paired donor is after I tested for him, because I actually tested for 3 people. Jessica was the third and she got my kidney. But when I first tested for Brent, he became medically eligible because of a doctor's mistake, which I thought was criminal. It wasn't even his
Mm.
fault. He was disqualified from the program he was in. But anyway, so he was the person that I first saw up close on dialysis, going through the things like you went through in the past. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. So in the first 6 months I knew him, he went through total renal failure where I almost passed. And that was the reason that motivated me to test for him and to learn more about dialysis, kidney disease, the causes of and things like that. And it's just, I had that feeling that when I saw Jessica's story, after I'd already done these previous testings, that it was meant to be. It was, I saw the newspaper, and then that night I got home on our CBS station, it was the same story. So those things motivated me. And just, now that I've been a donor for 12 years, and I've worked with these families. Our organization, by the way, is called Kidneys for Kids, but we recruit adult living kidney donors for children nationwide by producing news stories or scheduling TV interviews. That's what I've been doing the past 3 years since we founded Kidneys for Kids, is we get these families on TV, get their stories told, and then I come in as somebody who's experienced donation, and I can tell people, I run around with one kidney. I'm 63. I have the energy of a 30-year-old. And I was able to save somebody's life. And I've never had a more fulfilling experience. I mean, of course, I've had my marriage, my son, birth of my grandchildren, but nothing's been like giving life, to somebody else, and seeing them, Jessica when she was sick. And I told you 48 hours seeing Jessica when she was healthy. And today she's, like I say, as tall as me. She's so smart, and somebody at 10, she told me, after the surgery and these TV interviews, of course, she wanted to help other people and be a doctor or somebody like that. And you don't know when they're 10, if they're going to do that. And here she is, she's finishing her first degree, but she'll have her doctorate in about another 4 to 5 years in neuroscience. And she wants to work in research to find, cure the causes of kidney disease.
Wow.
That are curable, I should say. So
I love that. Yes.
And then it was been 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, I had to have both shoulders rebuilt. I had been many years, I worked in construction, even while having this clothing brand I had. And my shoulders just froze up and needed to be rebuilt one at a time. So in 2021, my surgeon told me, he said, Brian, I can't put Humpty Dumpty back together more than once without a lot of pain. He had a sense of humor. He said, you have major shoulder surgeries. If you keep doing the same occupation, I guarantee you're going to be back. Find something else to do. And my wife and I, we prayed about it. And, we had learned, there are almost 2,000 other kids in the United States today who need a kidney transplant right now. And there's almost 10,000 more who are on dialysis, who probably will need a kidney at some point, who aren't listed. And then we know, as adults, there's 100,000 adults almost, depending on it seems like the week, month, or year, it's in that range that need a kidney today. And we know 13 of those people die every day waiting for a kidney.
I tell you.
Those factors motivated us to, I had seen this news story. I thought, well, if I could be motivated, and I didn't know Jessica, why couldn't somebody else be motivated by a story if we really touched their heart? So I started this thing, and now we call the trip every summer Driving for Life. So in 2022, I took this first trip, and it was more of a promotion. GM gave me an electric car to drive. And we are not ready for electric cars across the country driving. City to city and things are fine, but if you're trying to string together 1,500 miles or something like that, you got to give yourself some extra days in case of charging problems. So what the first year did produce was a interview in Virginia. I was out in this trip, and I was just advocating. I was going to do interviews at National Kidney Foundation offices, hospitals, just to raise awareness. And I get a call from a family, and they said, you help this child. Would you consider helping our son? He needs a kidney. He's only 18 months old. So I went all the way to Virginia and did this TV interview. And the father, Cooper's dad, ended up becoming the donor a few months later. But the story we did inspired a chain donation, or a chain kidney donation, which you know about. So 5 people got kidneys because of watching this story. So that did it for me. It's like, okay, we reached somebody or a group of people, somebody set up this chain. Let's keep doing this. So we set our initial goal to find 100 kidneys for 100 children across the country. So the last 2 years, I've been 7,000 miles the following year in 2023. Last year, I drove 10,000 miles to 20 cities, arranged these interviews. So now we're at our 13th kidney we've matched to 13 kids. Number 14 donor is actually from our city. I can't tell you who he or she is yet, but this person is testing for a 11-year-old girl who I met last year in Los Angeles, California on my trip.
Wow.
So yeah, and so now every year it's become an annual trip, this Driving for Life. I'll go out this summer and I'll cover 12,000 miles in 30 cities. And I start June 9th in Chicago. And then I will finish in New York City on August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That's my traditional finishing point because I have a friend, Elaine Perlman, who's a fellow living kidney donor. She is actually on sabbatical from Columbia University as a professor. Her son donated, it's been, I think, 5 years ago when he was 19, became an anonymous donor, and she didn't know anything about kidney donation. And she followed what he did, researched it. She ended up donating. She didn't know
Excellent.
where her kidney went. She just knows she
Wow.
donated, just like he did. And it saved a life.
Beautiful.
And now she runs an organization called Waitlist Zero that advocates for change in legislation to up the rate of kidney donation. So I do my last interviews every year there in New York City with them. And I'll be seeing you there this year
That's right.
at the end of
Right
my
in
trip.
August. I can't wait. I
Yeah.
can't wait. And
So,
I'm so happy. Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't know
oh,
what to say.
well,
I
we're,
tell you,
we're,
I'm
we're
so
going to add a
happy.
little something to it this year.
And I'm excited. I'm acting like a kid myself. I'm 62, but my heart is feeling good for all the ones that got a transplant. And even you're still working for the ones that haven't got it yet, but will get it.
But we'll
You know,
get it. Yeah,
we're
because I will
praying,
be doing this trip
believe
for at least 5 more years. I figure I'm hoping within 5 years we can reach the total of 100 kidneys for 100 kids. And Kidneys for Kids will go on after that. But I don't know. I'll be 69 by then. I don't know if I'll be driving 12,000 miles every summer. But, but certainly we'll still be recruiting kidney donors for children. And then we do the same thing for adults in the state of Michigan, our home state. And then we also provide financial grants too. We give up to $1,000 per family per year, and we cover the costs not covered by insurance with those grants. And this summer
Oh,
is the bonus
go
part
ahead.
that I come out to you is we have our own TV channel now and TV network.
Boy, every time I'm going to ask you something, you answer it. I love it. Go ahead. Go get them.
Okay. So since I've gone out these last 3 years, and sometimes you'll run into media problems no matter how well you're scheduled. I could get to a city and some disaster happens, and the news crew's called off for another story. And I've had that happen over the last couple of years. And the child's sitting there with the family. Yeah, there you go. And they've done all this work to get the story done, and then nothing happens for their child. And so now my business partner and I have developed this TV network called the Good Karma TV Network, where I have a channel on Roku, a main channel, and then we have a series of sub channels under that. So this summer, I'll go out with a cameraman sitting next to me in my Chevy Equinox and filming a real reality series, not something scripted, not something that's all, fluff. This is the real life about what it takes to get these stories told, extended interviews with the families after the news crews leave. We're doing these interviews in hospitals, like in Chicago, for example. We started at Lori Children's Hospital. We finished in New York City at NYU, Langone Hospital. I did interview there last year. So lining up these interviews, now my cameraman traveling with me, showing the road, showing the families, showing the hospitals and events that we do along the way to raise awareness. We'll take all that film footage at the end of the summer and chop it up into about 200 hours worth of episodes that we'll show between this year and next year. And then we'll do that every year, build our audience, because by summer when I leave, we'll not only be on Roku, but we'll be on Apple TV and Amazon Fire Stick. So right now we're watched in 10 different countries. We've only started broadcasting February 3rd. I'm sitting in our studio right here in Bay City, Michigan. And we started broadcasting February 3rd, and we're being watched in at least 10 countries right now.
Now that is an accomplishment. I love it, and I'm proud of you. You was on my friend Vinny's show. You know
Yes,
what I
I
mean?
was.
I love her. You know what I mean? And I'll be on her show next week. I've been on her show before, but I'll be on her show next week. And I've been trying to get her on this one forever. But, I just love her to the moon and back. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
she is wonderful. Just a wonderful
You know,
person.
I'm telling you now, what is your hardest case or your toughest case when or anything tough about what you're doing?
Yeah, seeing, okay, like Aiden, for example. Aiden Blackburn is 15. And then 3 weeks ago, he finally got a kidney transplant. But we've been working with him for 2 years. He was my very first formal interview on the second Driving for Life trip. I met him at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. He was 13 and, seemed like a pretty normal teenager. And then visiting him again last year in his home in Indianapolis, he'd gotten to the point, it was so weak, he was in a wheelchair. And he had been going back and forth all the way from Indianapolis to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, every 2 weeks if he was sick, which was usually the case. And at 15, he had kidney disease since birth, and he'd never known one single day where he wasn't, he didn't feel sick. So he didn't know. We would tell him, when we'd spend time with them. Charles, my executive producer, and I, we went down and did a TV interview with him 3 weeks before he got his kidney. And, the family was at the point of giving up hope. They got on the deceased list, thank God. He got a deceased donor kidney, and a very good one, and is doing well. But just, seeing a boy that, we couldn't explain to him, what you're going to feel like when you get this kidney, the energy you're going to have. You're not going to be in a wheelchair. You're going to get that tube out of your stomach. He was G-tube fed all those years. And I can't imagine being 15. You try to go to school, try hanging out with kids. You can't go to lunchroom. Watching him eat, he could only take 3 bites of food a day through his mouth. The rest was all tube feeding. So that story was really hard on me. Seeing him finally get that kidney was just a blessing. But yeah, I mean, some of these babies, when I met Cooper, and Cooper's mom, Casey Pfaff, is now our board of directors vice president. So making these connections. And then another one we made, Molly Roon in Tampa, Florida. We did a campaign for her daughter. Her daughter, again, got the kidney from the dad, but it caused a lot of news that produced other kidney donations. And now she's our board secretary, and that was in Tampa, Florida. So all these.
I'm glad to hear some good in this, my God. Oh,
but yeah,
wow.
That's the tough part about dealing with these children. And nobody wants to see a kid sick. But, imagine an 18-month-old baby on dialysis. They don't understand what's going on, and try to keep them still because they're on dialysis 10 hours a night. Their dialysis is done at home because for a child, if they're under 18, they have to go to a transplant center. They don't go to a dialysis center like an adult would, like you, when you did.
Yeah.
They have to go to a hospital. I mean, I've met kids like in the one in Dallas, Texas 2 years ago. The child with special needs and came all the way from Tyler, Texas, 2 hours away. Grandparents had custody. You got to do that 3 days a week. You can't miss anything. And then these children that are at home dialysis, it's 10 hours a night, 7 days a week. Like that little Abigail I mentioned out in LA right now, waiting on our person who's testing for it. She's been on dialysis. She's 11 since she was 6. And she already survived kidney cancer when she was 3. So yeah, when parents contact me, they register. Now we have a formal registration, but up until this year, it was just, I'd get a phone call. I get a message. My child needs help. I've seen you on TV. Can you help my child? That's pretty heavy.
So, I'm sure. That's why we do shows too. You know what I mean? I've been doing the Lisa Baxter show 16 years, and right. I sometimes I don't know what else to do or what else to say. I do skits. I try comedy. I try rapping, singing, everything right. to get the picture and the point out there. Polycystic kidney disease it's been in my family that I'm not crazy about it being in there. You know what I mean? But if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be able to make it or get through it. And I just love kids. That's why I wrote children books. That's why I have, dealt with children on the show. And I love that you do that. You have a whole thing. What do you know? What channel is that, or how can they see that, just in case?
Yeah, if you have Roku TV right now, you just go to, Roku and download Good Karma TV or Good Karma Network, the app. And then you can watch us, anywhere on any TV with Roku. But if you don't have Roku, just go to kidneysforkids.org, and we're live there on our website. So you can tune in there. Like I say, we're coming up on April, and by the time I leave June 9th, we'll have the Apple app built and the Amazon app. So then we'll really be accessible. And then, that's the idea is, we'll take on the bigger audiences as I do this cross-country trip, and year by year we build these audiences in with different content creators Like I hear there's a show going to be coming to us from New York, from what I understand, to our network, from a great content creator. So putting all of those content creators together, like you, of course, we're talking about Lisa,
Oh, thank you.
is coming to the Good Karma TV network. I'll announce it
For
with her
years,
wonderful
I
show.
watched the whole thing here. Yeah.
And we're going to give you the proper platform that you've deserved all these years, and a place to call home and a place to place all your shows. But that's the idea, is building a content creator like you. And then we have Miss Vinny, who is our mutual friend, and bringing in her show. And then my friend who I'm going to introduce you to out in Jacksonville, Florida, who has her show, and she's a double lung transplant recipient. But anyway, bringing in all these other creators, so we have this whole sub-channel network full of all positive, inspiring shows, whether to do with transplant, whether to do with healthy living, whether to do with just physical and mental health. We're covering all those avenues between the different shows and the different creators. We're bringing on healthy cooking. Elaine Perlman, who I mentioned, my friend in New York City, she's going to have a vegan cooking show right from her apartment in 109th Street, being filmed by an NYU film student for us. So we're getting creative of how we make these things happen. We're able to bring them in remotely and then make them live worldwide, and building a network out where people will come to having all these choices, like your show and Miss Vinny's show and our shows, and they can go through this whole network and watch regular TV. They know their child can watch, the grandparents will watch, and they'll find something that is
Yes.
inspirational to them and positive. Let's put it that way.
Wow. I love it. I just love it. And the kids need you. You know what I mean? I love kids. I always have, being a social worker for 30 years. I just love kids, and I'll do anything for them. I just do anything for them. And I love what you're doing for them. And there's so many love people that love children out there that, work in the schools and in the hospitals and everywhere, the
Yep.
dialysis centers, home health aides, whatever they are. They want to give the kids their all in all. I love kids, and they deserve to be loved right back. Dialysis is not an easy thing. It's
No.
not, and it's very hard on an adult, on a senior, and on a children. I've
Yeah.
seen a baby, I've seen a toddler, and I've seen a older adult, and I've seen 6 of my siblings on dialysis. My 2 aunts, my uncle, my mother-in-law, and that was not easy. But
Right.
at the same thing, it'll make you a soldier. You know what I
Right.
mean? It'll never let you forget the experience, and you will never forget your testimony, your story, or whatever you're trying to tell. So
Absolutely.
my hat off to you and all of your team and everybody on that channel, and thank you for adding me to the channel. I appreciate that.
Uh,
I'm glad you want me.
Yeah, well, you got the kind of content I wanted in this from the start. I knew what kind of content we were looking for, and God just keeps bringing it our way. I meet people like you,
Thank
and people, and God, creators that fit into this positive image that I want to project. I
you.
model some of the things after PBS type shows. We don't want to copy PBS. We want to be our own thing, but we want to, yeah, we want to have our own identity that's known as, man, you can go to the Good Karma Network, and you can watch so many different people over there that are creating such great stuff, whatever subject matter you're looking for. If it's positive, if it's family oriented and clean, it's going to be on the Good Karma Network.
Wow, wow. Well, if you have a website, or maybe
Yeah,
you said it already, if you have someplace that a way they can contact you, talk to you, or donate to
absolutely.
kids.
Yes,
uh,
absolutely. Kidneysforkids.org is, first of all, go there and you can donate through the PayPal charitable fund, or you can donate through our platform, Zephy. When you see donate now, if you donate through Zephy, we don't receive any fees. We receive 100% of your donation. And follow us on Facebook, Kidneys for Kids, TikTok, Kidneys for Kids, LinkedIn, follow Brian Martindale, and we have a Kidneys for Kids page there, and then as well as Instagram. So we cover all the bases. But anywhere there, you can find all of our stories. We cross post all the TV interviews that we do, and links to those things. And then again on kidneysforkids.org, you'll see them. And then on our Google, you'll find, I think, like I say, I've done about 50 different TV interviews in 3 years for these children. So you can find them all on Google under Kidneys for Kids. But yeah, we are 501(c), so your donations are tax deductible. And that's where your donations are going, either at our family assistance fund to actually fund grants, to this trip that actually finds kidney donors for children, and then this educational network that we're using here, the Good Karma TV network. I can say educational because we're producing education material for the kidney community. We're having contributors like you come in and talk about healthy aspects. And then we're actually bringing in our local school system is bringing in kids in the fall, and we're actually giving instruction in audio and video production, hosting a TV show, a podcast, writing, social media management, and all those things. So we're actually, I never dreamed of that I'd become a teacher at 63, but we've already got a curriculum approved, and yeah, we're going to
That's
be,
great.
everything we're doing, put it this way, is positive. With every dollar that we take in, it's something positive that comes out of it.
Wow. Well, that's what it's all about. I love the behind the camera stuff. I love learning all about the different things, writing scripts and things like that. I just appreciate every gift God gave me, and I use it all to his glory, and I use it all to educate people about this so they can understand it a lot better without a lot of talk or things that they may not understand. Who
Yeah.
would you give a shout out to if you had to give somebody a shout out, whether it's family, your career, your friends?
Oh, well, first of all, I gotta give a shout out to my wife, Wendy. If it wasn't for Wendy, the Kidneys for Kids wouldn't have existed. I mean, she allowed us, I mean, we prayed on it, and this is a lot of our retirement that was put into Kidneys for Kids. And we've been married 8 years now, and she never had children of her own. And she thinks our grandchildren are very close to her now. Jessica is close to us, like I say, like a daughter, my recipient.
Yeah,
And her wanting to do this thing, for kids that, because she didn't have children, she's always loved kids and wanted to have them. But being able to do this now gives her fulfillment. She has a disability that doesn't allow her a lot of movement and things like that. Her neck is fused together, and
mm.
she's always in an amount of pain. Just you can't tell what.
Imagine that pain. Oh,
Yeah. So,
yeah,
for everything she goes through, God bless her. She always has a smile on her face. She's always doing something for other people from home.
bless her.
And then, like I say, Kidneys for Kids wouldn't have existed because if it wasn't for her. So I have to give her the biggest shout out.
Mm. Well, that's great. I always thank my husband because the same thing with the Lisa Baxter show and kidney connections. If it wasn't for him, being my
Right.
cameraman and following me around and filming me inside the center on the machine, and it started like that before I started even interviewing people, and I was traveling all over the world, so I understand that too. And God
Right.
knows I understand pain. But I tell you, like, stay strong with it. I thank you so much for coming on. I thank you for now with family, and you can't get rid of me. How about that? So
Thank you, Lisa.
you say,
I
hi,
appreciate
yes,
you having
you
me
get,
today too.
oh, you know.
Yeah, I
But
appreciate it
thank
so much. It's been great talking to you, and I look forward to working with you now here in the future.
Oh, so do I. So do I. I cannot wait, and I'm so excited. Appreciate you, and happy uh Kidney Month, Kidney
Yep.
Day,
National Kidney Month.
National Kidney Month.
Yep.
And I know the donor month is coming up to the what is it, the transplant, or was it the donor transplant month is coming as well, and
Yep.
yeah, they all come. They got different ones for different things, different
Yeah, we've
disabilities.
got a lot of different days. I mean, April is Donate Life Month, the
That's
next one
it.
coming up. Yeah, I knew you were thinking of that one. Yeah. So, because
Yeah.
we work, we obviously promote living kidney donation because it gives the best outcome receiving a living kidney. But of course, we promote organ donation as a whole. We work with the Chris Klug Foundation to do that out of
Yeah.
Denver. And we're trying to work with One Legacy and other OPOs across the country because actually, I didn't mention, we are actually now a member of the Organ Procurement and Transplant Network. We're the only transplantation network. We're only the 9th public member, and we're only the 2nd kidney organization behind the National Kidney Foundation that are actual members.
Wow.
And I'm actually running for board of directors position for the Organ
Wow.
Transplantation Network. They are redoing the whole transplantation network, to get things right. in the transplant world, and transplants going as they should. So I hope to be part of that board and part of the future there.
Well, congratulations early. I see favor in your face. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You guys be good out there, all right? Take care of your kidneys and they will take care of you, all right? Dialysis is not a death sentence, it's a life sentence. Sharing is caring, so share this, okay? And health is wealth, so you're richer than you think, all right? So this is the Lisa Baxter Show saying good night, good morning, good day, and V for victory, okay?
All right. Thank you,
Love and
Lisa.
all. Bye. Thank you again.
I fought for my God, right? Joshua 1:9 says, have I not commanded you to be strong, be courageous, be courageous, to not be afraid, to not be afraid. For the Lord my God is with me. He is with you. All right. Wherever I go. So let's go. Let's go. Hold on. I said let's go. Let's go. So let's go! Let's go!
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.